Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Farrell and Farrell, a hockey podcast for the people. We don't know what we're talking about, or we don't know what we're calling this yet. That was just something I came up with on the spot. My name is Connor Farrell. You can call me TC, and I'm joined by...
Hey, I'm Brendan Farrell. You can call me TCJ, or you can just call me Brendan. I'm fine with that.
TCJ, how are you doing?
It was a weird, interesting night on Tuesday, but I've recovered. Everything's good now. Excited for tomorrow.
Looking a little gray in the eyebrow, specifically. Your left one specifically.
Specifically the left one?
Yeah. I know
Maybe.
I pointed to my right, but it's your left.
I mean, that game probably cut my life expectancy by about 10 years. So.
My whole outlook now is I know nothing. You know nothing. I know less, and nobody knows what they're talking about.
You have negative hockey IQ at this point.
Hockey is weird, dumb, stupid, and I love it. That's my motto right now. So, on our last episode, we gave some predictions.
Yes, we did.
How did your predictions go?
Not great, Bob. I think I ended up 3 for 8. Which
3 for 8 is great.
Honestly.
This season of the NHL playoffs, where the main character was killed off in the first episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
3 for 8 is fantastic. I got 1 for 8.
Yeah, because I think I had St. Louis, San Jose, and Boston. But I mean, also at this point, does picking Boston over Toronto really even count?
That was a coin flip. I'll give you that one. That was a coin flip. But so was San Jose and Vegas.
Yes,
that was a coin flip.
But it's Boston versus Toronto.
You're saying there's a history there?
We know how this ends.
Yeah.
We knew how this was going to end for 3 months.
We did not. I picked Toronto.
Okay. All right. Sure. Okay.
But since you're saying we know how this ends, what is your outlook for Boston in this next series against Columbus, who got their own wild ride into this second round?
Do you want me to start our 5-minute timer here?
Oh yes. So for each round, so we don't get too off track like we did last episode, we're gonna do a 5-minute drill for each series.
Because otherwise, we are going to be here for an hour and a half, like we usually do. So, I am
straight to the point.
Yeah,
to the point, Farrell.
What did they call? There's something they've been doing on NBC now, where they like the last 5 minutes of the game are sponsored by somebody.
I don't know.
Something. It's like the Hyundai Final 5 or whatever.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't care.
I think Final 5 is the right name, but I don't think I had the right company.
There's way too much to pay attention to in a playoff hockey game in the last 5 minutes of a game for me to know what their sponsorship deal is.
Right. Okay.
And unless Doc Emmerich is calling it, I'm not listening to the announcers anyway.
All right. You ready? 5-minute timer?
Yes.
All right. And we're starting.
Go, Boston.
All right. Boston.
We got 5 minutes. We don't have to speed through this.
Okay. So obviously, a big series win for them over the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, it's similar story, same ending, but this is a really, really good team. They've since dropped David Pastrnak to the second line, which is something they should have done all along. So, and now instead of having one just ridiculously good line, they just have 2 ridiculously good lines. So, I'm a big fan of that change. I think that they do have the edge over Columbus. I'm going Boston in 6.
Ooh, that's interesting. So, I've gone back and forth on this series all day long. I've thought a lot about this series because to me, Boston is the obvious choice. But
it's a little easier to pick Boston now because they won Game 1.
We're recording this before Game 1, Brendan. Jeez.
Okay. Sorry. Right.
No, it's fine. Boston has one game won. To me, I mean, but even before then, Boston has to be the obvious choice in this series, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're the higher seeded team. They're the highest. They're the best team left at this point. But I mean, which honestly really isn't saying like a whole lot. But
then I had a thought. Columbus is coming off rest, so the longer this series goes, the better off they'll be, in theory. But what really got me thinking the other way was, so Mike McKenna went on NHL Network the other day talking about goalies, and he talked about how Martin Jones, how sometimes when you move up to a bigger stage as a goalie, it takes a little bit for it to click that, oh, I can do this and I am good in this situation. And he thinks Martin Jones has gotten over that hump at this point.
Okay.
So basically,
back.
because Martin Jones has struggled in the playoffs in previous games, and now suddenly he's got confidence to play well at that level, and it's a kind of a different ball game than it is in the regular season. That I think was his point.
Okay.
Now I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, well, maybe we're seeing something similar in Columbus with Bobrovsky, because he struggled in the playoffs before, and then we see him play against the Lightning, and he looks pretty good. So I'm thinking if he can get that confident, if he has that confidence to say, "Oh, I can make this game mine," maybe we see playoff Bobrovsky against this Boston team, and I think that's very exciting. I think he makes that series more exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the other things that should be pointed out is that though Sergei Bobrovsky's save percentage was like 932, it was exactly the same as his expected save percentage. So it really goes to show you just how well Columbus is playing in front of him before that. But yeah, we'll have to see. Obviously, Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, it's a playoff series. Obviously, the play of the goaltender is going to be a big factor.
Right. And the second part of my line of thinking today was that goaltending is like the most important factor, and getting a hot goalie is one of the most important factors, if not the most important factor, in a playoff series. Like if you can get Marc-Andre Fleury when he's hot, or if you can get um Ben Bishop in Dallas to win you some games, you've got a good chance at contending for a cup and riding him for a series or two. So that's what I'm thinking. If Bobrovsky gets hot, maybe they can knock off Boston, because hockey is stupid and dumb and amazing at the same time.
Yeah, and to me, the other thing is that Columbus is dealing with a couple of injuries. I mean, they're down to
So is Boston.
Yeah, but they're
everybody's got injuries.
Okay, can I speak, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Their third pairing right now is Scott Harrington and Adam Glendening, which is pretty rough.
What's the third pairing? They're on the ice for what, 8 minutes?
Okay, but their second pairing is Dean Kukin and David Savard. I mean, they're hurting a little bit back there. They're hurting a little bit on the back end. But this was a team that was put together at the deadline. I think that they finally got enough games together to become a better, more cohesive unit. But they do need more production outside of guys like Matt Duchene and Artemi Panarin. That was the clock. So
okay, I'll give my prediction.
We'll just give a couple
you
closing
said Boston
thoughts.
in 6?
I said Boston in 6.
Okay,
I think Boston's depth is a little too much. And
I agree. I wanted to give an argument for the other side, but I think ultimately I agree. And I did look at the Power Play podcast selections, and they all picked Columbus. So I think we have to counter with both of us picking Boston.
Oh, man.
So I'm going to go Boston in 7.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Columbus can't keep the magic up for another round. But then again, crazier things have obviously happened in the playoffs this year. All right, so we're going to keep things in the East. We're going to go Islanders, Hurricanes. Another series where you have a team coming off a sweep versus a team coming off a 7-game series. And, if you told me before the season started that we would be having a second-round series between the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Islanders, I would have laughed in your face and told you that you were wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just seems like we were destined for Washington and Pittsburgh in the second round.
And this is another this is another battle. This is like part 2 of the shot quantity versus quality war.
Yep.
That always seems to break out. So obviously Carolina, pretty great fancy stats, and then
fancy
New
stats.
New York is more focused on controlling the quality. So they took out Barry Trotz's student in the first round, and now they face the sensei in the second round. I think that I like Carolina's defense a lot, but the injuries to Svechnikov and the fact that like their bottom 6 at this point is just like the Charlotte Checkers is a little concerning, and obviously the goaltending mismatch is another pretty big weakness for Carolina.
Yeah, I'm still mad at Peter Mrazek. Like, I understand Carolina is better at suppressing shots than the Flyers are, but come on, Peter Mrazek. I said this. I believe I said this in the last episode. Peter Mrazek couldn't turn left in Philadelphia.
You just always have to tie it back to Philly.
Always.
Always. I know.
I'm going to mention the Flyers in the Western Conference too.
Even though I know it, that it doesn't mean that I'm not disappointed.
I do think I like. Oh gosh, this is another series where I'm like looking at the goaltending and seeing how far the goaltending can take them. I think Robin Lehner can possibly win this series. So I'm going to say Islanders in 6.
I'm going to disagree. I'll take the Hurricanes. I'm not sure if I like either of these teams to get past whoever wins the other series.
Right.
And again, the fact that these two teams are playing each other is still not weird, or it's still weird. Like,
oh yeah. And I don't know how to like analyze the Islanders. I just know that they're well coached, and they've got Barry Trotz, and they've got a good goaltending. Anders Lee is talented, but I don't have any X's and O's for this series. Like, oh, the Islanders can stop the Hurricanes from getting shots off or whatever. Like, it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, and I know I don't talk about intangibles that often, and I know that Barry Trotz is a great coach and all, but man, it seems to me like the Hurricanes just want to run through a wall for Rod Brind'Amour.
That is
every
true.
Every time I hear that man talk, like even I would do, I'd be like, okay, put me in, coach. I'm ready to go. Yeah, I mean,
Rod the Bod.
I was, when they first hired him, I was like, really? Like, he doesn't really have any coaching.
Yeah, right. He doesn't seem like the coach. He doesn't seem like your typical like hockey coach. He feels like a player coach.
Yeah, well, I mean, it helps that he was, a former player.
And to your point, where I've got to tie everything back to the Flyers, Rod Brind'Amour, former Flyer.
Yep. You want to bring up Justin Williams, former Flyer as well? Oh wait, I
forgot about that.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
I'm going to go with the player to watch out for in the series is Jordan Staal. He had a pretty darn good last series. He's anchoring that second line. I just like a lot of what Jordan Stahl's been doing this year, and I'll go with him.
I don't have the lineups up, so I'm just going off the top of my head. I don't know who I'd look. I guess Robin Lehner is still the playmaker for me, and not playmaker, but you know what I mean, the difference maker.
Yeah, obviously, I still think that the Islanders lean too much on their goaltending.
Yeah, and I can understand that argument.
But also trying to predict that the Carolina Hurricanes will defy the PDO gods is just asking for trouble. So
who knows?
Exactly.
That's all I got on that. Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah, great timing. All right. So predictions. I have I'll take the Hurricanes. I'll take Hurricanes in 6.
Islanders in 6.
All right. Sweet. All right. Let's move over to the Western Conference, where we have. Which one do we want to do first? Do we want to go Central or Pacific?
You can choose. You're the Western Conference guy.
Let's go with, because you know me, I'll talk about the Sharks for forever and a half. I'll defy the 5 minutes and turn that into 10.
It's fine.
So let's
start
go
with
Dallas and St. Louis.
Okay.
We say Central and Pacific. It's the Sharks are the only Pacific team left. So it feels a little weird to call it that.
Yeah, and you were saying how mediocre the Central was earlier this season.
I'm not sure if the Central is mediocre or just all the teams just enjoy beating each other.
I could say the same for any division.
All right. So just give me a second. Let me put the 5 minutes on the clock. All right. Let's do this. All right. So I like St. Louis a lot in this matchup. I'm surprised that Dallas got past Nashville. And to me, they benefited a lot or Dallas benefited a lot from Pekka Rinne having a pretty terrible postseason and a Nashville power play that literally couldn't score.
Right. I just don't see a whole.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just don't see a whole lot on Dallas outside of that top line. They probably have a little bit more on the defensive end. Esa Lindell, John Klingberg, and Miro Heiskanen. But I mean, outside of that Ben Sagan Radulov line, I don't see much there, and I think St. Louis will have the firepower to find a way to beat. I can't remember. Why can't Ben Bishop? His name eludes me every time. I don't understand.
He's a Vezina candidate. How are you forgetting about this?
He's a Vezina candidate? No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
He's the only reason why they're there in the first place.
I mean, he had a good season, but he's no Vasilevsky.
I have to double check. You're doubting me, but I'm pretty sure.
He had a good season, but
Anyway, but yeah,
Gibson
that is the biggest advantage that Dallas has in the series, especially since this is Jordan Binnington's first NHL playoffs, and with a young goaltender, you never know when things can go wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I still think. I mean, Jordan Binnington, he didn't fare too poorly in the Winnipeg series. I think he's going to be challenged. I think he was challenged more against Winnipeg than I think he will be against Dallas, if that makes sense.
Yeah. By the way, Vezina Trophy candidates: Ben Bishop, Andrei Vasilevsky, Robin Lehner.
What? No Gibson?
Yeah, because apparently you have to be on it. Yeah, because you have to apparently be on a good team to win the Vezina. So
he was a one-man show there.
I don't make up the rules.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
and Vasilevsky
this is not
that's a whole different conversation. You're right.
Yep.
You're right.
We can talk about that after this. But anyway, but yeah, I like the Blues forward depth a lot in this series. Being able to go O'Reilly, Shen, Bozak down the middle against the Stars is just going to be pretty overwhelming. Plus, I mean, their defense is, pretty darn good. Pietrangelo and Parayko on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
Got some pretty good depth too. So a lot to like there.
I do like the Blues forwards, and I always when he was with the Flyers, I always liked the way Shen played in the playoffs. Particularly against the series in 2016 against the Capitals, which we ultimately lost. We were totally not ready for the playoff that year, but Shen, I thought, came to play that season. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. That's just what I've seen. I feel like he's a good playoff performer.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. I don't know if he's necessarily like among the the top tier of second line centers in the playoffs, but yeah, he's
and
he's better than what the Stars have, and I just like I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just a lot to like about the Blues. I was pretty high on them coming into the postseason, and they've shown me right.
Jaden Schwartz had an excellent first round against Winnipeg.
Yes, your favorite
3 or 4 goals.
Your favorite Blues player, Jaden Schwartz.
Oh, Jaden Schwartz may have won me a fantasy championship last year. Last year, not this year. He didn't do well this year, but last year. It was great, but he looks like he looks like he's healthy. Like I don't think he was even when he was playing this season, I don't feel like he was at 100%, but now he looks like he's playing without any sort of injury burden.
Yeah. Yeah. Our 5 minutes is about I don't man. But
just let it rain. Don't.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It. I'll say Blues in 5.
Yeah, I don't want to agree with you, but I'm going to agree with you. I'll take Blues in 5 because I've been saying every series is going to end in 6. So, all right. So last playoff matchup that we're going to talk about: San Jose versus Colorado. I think one of the more intriguing matchups. Yeah,
I think this is fascinating.
It's going to be, especially with Joe Pavelski out. There's a lot of questions to ask about San Jose, and honestly, to me, if it wasn't for Tampa, Colorado beating Calgary in 5 games, especially the way they did it, like that wasn't just Grubauer stealing 5 games.
Nope.
That was the Avalanche just dominating the Calgary Flames.
Right.
I was pretty low on the Flames coming into the postseason, but
you mean
wasn't
the Avalanche?
that low. No.
Oh, yeah. I know. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, I agree, and I think they've really surprised people coming into this. I'd have to look back at the stats and see who was real. I mean, you've got Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, and Mikko Rantanen, and that's all you really need to know. And hey, Philip Grubauer, one of the great redemption stories of this playoffs, because last season he came into the playoffs, played a few games, played poorly, and then they gave the reins back to what's his name? Eliminated face. I should know this.
I'm sorry, I tuned out for a second.
His face.
I'm sorry, I tuned out for a second.
Capitals goalie.
Braden Holtby.
Braden Holtby. Why am I drawing a blank? Drinking too much beer.
Probably. All right.
Anyway,
moving on from that. Holy smokes.
So I did want to say, looking back at our good friends, the Power Play podcast, they all have Colorado.
Really?
All three of them have Colorado.
Vinny has Colorado just to spite me.
Colorado in 7, Colorado in 6, Colorado in 6.
That's ridiculous. But to me...
Why is that ridiculous?
Okay, so even with Joe Pavelski out, the Sharks still, I think, have a deeper forward group. The only problem is that the Avs have more star power. The Sharks don't have a forward like Nathan McKinnon. Even if they get Joe Pavelski back, Nathan McKinnon is just unbelievable. But other than that, lines 2 through 4, I'll take San Jose all day. And then defensive pairings, I know Erik Karlsson's hurt, but he might still be better than anybody that Colorado has. And oh, by the way, San Jose still has Brent Burns and Marc-Edouard Vlasic, who has, I guess, it's not quite 2016 form, but he's found that postseason shutdown form. I mean, the Sharks really missed him. They lost 3 straight without him. It's just, he's really like the backbone of that defensive core, even if his on-ice metrics don't quite show that for whatever reason. They just fall to pieces without him.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if they can just get average goaltending out of Martin Jones, I think that they're probably the favorites.
If they get Game 6 and Game 7 Martin Jones, there's no reason the Sharks should lose this series.
I mean, hell, if
unless
anybody,
Nathan McKinnon goes crazy.
I'd say, hell, if anybody gets Game 6 Martin Jones, there's no reason for you to lose a game. But anyway.
I mean, honestly, I don't think he played that bad in Game 7, other than that one soft goal he let in the third period.
Yeah.
I think he played really well that game.
No, I'm just saying if you get a goal, he's going to save 58 out of 59 shots. You're going to win 100%
that's
of the time.
true. No team should lose then.
Yeah.
But my other question...
The Sharks are going to need bigger performances out of Evander Kane and Gustav Nyquist and Timo Meier, especially with Joe Pavelski out.
I was about to say, who do you want to see take that top-line winger role? Who do you want to replace, be that primary guy to step in there?
I would think either Nyquist or Kane. I also wouldn't mind. This is gonna sound a little weird, but I also wouldn't mind Jonas Donskoy if he's healthy.
Donskoy,
if he's healthy, because he missed Game 7.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they fill Pavelski's spot. Hopefully, at some point in the series, he can come back. But I once again, we say this about every team that we like, but I just like the Sharks' depth more. And come playoff time,
they can roll 3 lines, whereas Colorado can only roll 1.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly how I feel.
You know what? I might be crazy because he's 39 years old. I thought Joe Thornton looked really good in that Game 7. I didn't think he looked his age. I thought he was not only was he keeping up, I thought he was dishing out passes. I thought he was setting people up to score, particularly in that overtime. I thought he gave 3 or 4 bona fide goal scoring opportunities to line mates who just wouldn't finish it. But that just might be me being old fashioned.
All right. Time is up. At least.
Oh, wait.
Oh, what's up?
Is that timer? Is that Timo time?
Boo. Oh, all right. You know me. Sharks in 6. What do you have?
Sharks in 7.
Oh man, if I go to another 7-game series, I'm not going to make it.
just
holy smokes!
Just so I can prove Vinny wrong and make you sweat.
All right. So now that we've talked about that, let's go into maybe a couple topics. I don't want to talk for too long because it's late, I don't want to put out another hour-long episode like we usually do. Actually, usually an hour is pretty good limit for us. That's not a good day.
Minutes?
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about a couple of the topics that came up, mostly the Game 7s.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Obviously I want to talk about the Game 7s. But I think the big thing to talk about was obviously the Cody Eakin penalty and whether or not we should start looking at replay for major penalties.
I wouldn't mind it. I think that's a good idea. But here's the thing. I think if you go to this goes for any situation where you go to replay, if you can't find the evidence in 2 minutes, stick with the call on the ice. You know what I'm saying? And I guess the question would be, if you make major penalties reviewable, do you have to call it a major on the ice, or can you call a penalty on the ice and then go to replay to see if it's a major?
I think it would have to be you'd have to call a penalty on the ice because otherwise things are just going to be out of control. But to me, it's a little weird because when was the last time this has happened where we've had a big controversy over a major penalty or not?
I mean,
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Major penalties outside of fighting, they don't come up very often.
Right.
But there are times when I'm like, well, maybe should he have gotten a match penalty for that, or should he have gotten a 10-minute major, or 10-minute misconduct for that? I think that would have fallen under that umbrella as well.
Here's my thing: is that, well, I guess I have a couple things. One, if the Sharks don't come back in that game, we're probably not talking about this.
Fair.
And two, do we extend that to other penalties too, or are we just saving it for major penalties? Because it seems like a really niche, really specific thing.
Yeah, it does.
Replay for.
But I think recognizing, because the difference between a minor penalty and the major penalty is the biggest difference that I can tell is severity, and a lot of times you can call penalties by the book, and you can say this was definitely a penalty by the letter of the law. And so that, I mean, I don't think in that sense I don't think that's the same as saying calling a penalty and calling a major. I don't think are the same thing. I don't think you can say, well, if you can review majors, why can't you review penalties in general? I don't think there's
but here's another thing.
Penalty there.
Is that what if it was for certain types of penalties, like delay of game, or honestly, really, it's probably just delay of game. That would really be the only
delay of game is the
that
one.
Would really work
or too many men,
or as they call it in San Jose, hella dudes.
Hella dudes. I know. I like too much man. Too much man is my favorite.
Hella dudes is pretty good too.
hella dudes. I mean, for something like that, I could see it sort of like an offsides review.
Yeah,
but I don't think you can review something like, I don't know, roughing.
But here's the other thing. Because
roughing's the biggest penalty ever.
But here's the thing that gets me, though, is that there are certain areas of NHL replay right now that still aren't even fine-tuned. Like, I swear offsides replays have, like, the worst angles possible. And also, the other replay controversy on Tuesday night was it Cody Eakin that scored that? I think it was. Yeah, I think it was also Cody. It was also Cody Eakin on Vegas' second goal to make it 2-0.
Yeah, nobody's talking about that.
His stick is at his shoulders.
It's above his shoulders. His hands are at his shoulders, and his stick is up.
I'm trying to be generous here. His stick is at his shoulders, but there are no good angles. There are no good replay angles that definitively show whether the stick was above the crossbar or not. Really, you just have to use your logic on that. You're like, okay, there's no way Cody Eakin's shoulders are below 4 feet.
Which to me is insane, because there are so many camera angles during a TV broadcast, and we've gotten so advanced on this that we can find the best replays for certain situations, but we can't find one that has both the stick and the crossbar in the same shot.
I'm telling you, they need to. People have been saying this for years. Start putting chips in pucks. Put like GPS chips in pucks. This way we can see it whenever it crosses the goal line. You don't have to like try to see through like the bindings on the glove of the goalie if he's like making like a goal line save. Or you can see. I don't know if you would need to like put like a chip or like a laser in the crossbar or whatever. Like, so you could see when the puck was touched, like if it was above the crossbar or not.
Right.
So, I think that is my thing. Is that expanding replay is great and all, but there are also areas in the current replay system that need to be revamped.
I don't see why they don't use the soccer VA or goal line technology. Because if you've ever seen them use goal line technology, it takes the video. I don't know what the technology is used, but it shows you exactly where the ball is relative to the goal line and whether or not it's gone over. It uses like 3 different camera angles at once to make a 3-dimensional model or something like that.
Yeah. Isn't it really more like 2-dimensional? Because it's just like the ball and like the line.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, man. Probably 2-dimensional. I'm not I'm not the most
Semantics.
tech savvy.
Semantics.
You can ask my buddy Kevin. Kevin, if you're listening, shout out. You can ask Kevin. I'm not the most tech savvy. You know, I struggle with technology.
But yeah. And then can we also just talk about? Me, I have to get this off my chest. Can we just say that the refs didn't hand San Jose the victory on Tuesday night?
No, absolutely not.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that
that's fair.
I didn't realize that the referees just like brought out sticks and started hammering away at rebounds and stuff. Like they just started taking pot shots at Fleury. I didn't realize that. I thought I was watching the game pretty intently. I guess that happened while I wasn't looking or something.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody said you had to give up 4 power play goals in the span of like 3 or 4 minutes.
Here's my thing. San Jose had 3 power plays in the first period and did nothing with them. And then you get one in the third and you score in 6 seconds? And then you score 4 more in the next 5 minutes? That's more than just the fact that you've got an extra man. Something else has entered into that equation. Either Vegas is playing worse on the penalty kill, or San Jose is playing better on the power play, or combination thereof, and something else and I've got to think it's Joe Pavelski is in the locker room. We have to win it for this. Well, I mean, we want to win it, but now we've got a cause.
Yeah, they said that when Thornton was talking about it post game, they said that he was nearly emotional. And honestly, like that picture, there's a picture of him from the broadcast where as he's holding Joe Pavelski and skating off to the locker room, he's got his hand on a towel on Pavelski's head, and just the face and just a visual. It's pretty sad, honestly. It's very, very emotional.
Yeah.
And just like that shot of Logan Couture scoring the first goal, turning towards the bench and saying, "Hey, that's one."
Yep.
I've seen that clip 10 times since Tuesday, and it sends shivers.
They showed it 10 times on the broadcast on Tuesday. What do you mean?
After the
game, that's all they would show every time the Sharks scored was that's one. There we go. Remember, they pulled up Pierre and went, "Remember this moment."
And hey, if you think that the major was as game changing as it was, in a vacuum, you would think that certain models would pick it up, call a penalty, call that major. You would think like the win probability would skyrocket because clearly, according to Vegas fans and people who don't like the Sharks or thought that penalty was terrible or whatever. If you get a 5-minute major, you're just gifted 4 goals. That is just
absolutely
you automatically. If you get a major called, that 5-minute power play, that just raises your win probability to 100%. But
what I liked about that. Oh, we're done.
No, you can keep going. Sorry, I didn't realize you had.
What I liked about that power play the Sharks had is they always found a way to make things difficult on Fleury. To me, it reminded me of what CBJ did to Vasilevsky. They always made sure they had someone's ass in Fleury's face. Same way CBJ always found a way to get someone's ass in Vasilevsky's face, and they made things difficult for him.
That's the Joe Pavelski spot, just minus the Pavelski.
But that's what they tell me. I'm wrong. He saw there was maybe one of those 4 goals that he could have seen, if I remember correctly. Almost all of them. He didn't have a chance.
The fourth one, the entire left side of the net was open. His position was way off. But anyway, that's water under the bridge. And then we had a couple other really crazy Game 7s. I mean, none of the Game 7s were duds.
No, they were all great because hockey is weird and stupid and marvelous and amazing.
Boston led throughout the Game 7 against Toronto, but you never really felt like Toronto was really out of it until the end of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, the third goal felt like a dagger, but with as much firepower as Toronto has, it wasn't. You still didn't feel like you had to turn off the TV at that point.
No. But even in that game, I felt like Boston was in control enough that I wasn't on the edge of my seat the same way I was with the San Jose game and with the Carolina game. Just I felt like Boston, controlled play well enough, and I'm scrolling through Twitter and I'm seeing people criticizing the minutes that the Leafs were using. Like Tavares isn't getting enough time, Mitch Marner's not getting enough time.
Yeah, there's no reason why guys like Patrick Marleau, Connor Brown, Zach Hyman on a torn ACL. Like, I mean, those guys were only playing like a couple of minutes less or fewer than the big guys were. Rolling lines is great, but at some point you got to shorten the bench.
Right. I completely agree. I'm just not very good at number watching, so I'm never really sure who's getting the most time on the ice. Unless it's the Flyers, in which I know the numbers. But I don't know. It just felt like a game where Boston had control of it, even when Toronto was trying to catch up and tie it.
Yeah. And then I can't wait for an entire offseason of just ridiculous hot takes from Leafs Twitter. So that should be great.
Yes.
I can't wait to see all of the like cat-friendly armchair GMs with like ridiculous trades of William Nylander to somebody for like I can't wait for the William Nylander PK Subban trades. Do you know how many of those are going to be?
Too many.
Yeah, too many. I mean, like more than one is too many. It doesn't even have to be PK Subban. It's gonna be like William Nylander for some like decent like right-handed defenseman, and like trying to also attach like Connor Brown to it or something. But
yeah, are the Leafs gonna sign Jake Gardiner?
I doubt it. It probably don't have the cap space.
From what I can gather, Leafs fans hate Jake Gardiner.
It depends. If you're part of the fancy stats section of Leafs Twitter, you realize that he's a lot better than that. But if you're the eye test part of Leafs Twitter, you hate him. I mean, you know which camp I'm firmly in, but.
Well, I mean, I like Jake Gardiner. I don't think he's bad. I just know that he's not well liked.
Yeah.
Speaking of fancy stats, I saw Barclay Goodrow actually has some pretty good shot rates and shot suppression rates.
Does he really? Like, are you talking about playoffs?
It's decent. I think it's just over the season.
I was going to say, if you're talking regular season, like everybody on the Sharks had really good shot rates.
That's a good point.
Shot rates. I mean, there was only one. I think Melker Karlsson was the only player under 50% for Corsi 4.
Melker Karlsson had a few chances in that Game 7 where I was like, man, if he has any finishing touch at all, the Sharks could be winning right now.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going nuts. I'm like, the two of the best chances in this game I've seen were from Melker Karlsson and Justin Braun. Like, of course it has to be those two guys.
But it wasn't even like they created those. It was like other people created those chances and served it to them. From what I was watching.
Exactly. Yeah, but I mean, hey, also, speaking of Barclay Goodrow, good on him for getting the Peter Klima goal, scoring on his second shift of overtime. That is maybe it's just because like everyone else is just so tired and so slow, but that might be the fastest I've ever seen Barclay Goodrow move.
But you know what gets overlooked in that play? Erik Karlsson had one hell of a pass.
Yeah, I mean it's a simple pass, but I mean when you enter like that,
it was good. Yeah. It was on his tape. It was right where it needed to be. It was in stride. Like,
well, so when you enter the zone like that, you immediately draw the attention of both defenders. There were
4 defenders that followed him on that entry.
Yeah, I mean it was a good, effective entry, and then just a great pass, and then a nice move by Goodrow. Honestly, at first I thought that shot hit the post. Like I was so out of my mind, and I was so emotionally spent that I was just like, oh, did he just hit the post on an empty net? Like, I couldn't believe at first that like that puck actually went in. But
What about the Carolina winner?
hey,
Pretty catchy.
that's just good old get pucks in deep and get pucks to the
Yeah,
net.
that was
Just gotta get
to
pucks
the
on net. That's like pure Carolina Hurricanes there. Just take the puck, throw it to the net at all costs.
But it was a very interesting, to me, it was a kind of an odd tip, but it was like, because it was already past the goalie's shoulder at that point. He just had to redirect it on net. But it was also kind of sauced, so he had to like just get his stick just right to like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
Look,
Yeah.
like I'm not making sense, but I thought it was a great tip. But of course, it was Justin Williams. Like, who else?
Yeah.
Who else could have made that play? Justin Williams. I should be specific. Justin Williams threw the puck on net. Justin Williams was not the guy tipping. Mr.
Right.
Game 7.
Yeah,
To me, he made the play. The tip was great, but Justin Williams made the play to get the puck on net.
Yeah, I was gonna say Justin Williams winning a Game 7. Never seen that before. Nope.
Never.
Mm-mm.
I think I heard the one time he lost a Game 7 was when he was with Washington
against Pittsburgh, 2017.
Yeah,
and then the Caps won a Game 7 last year without him.
Flip-esque.
All right, let's. Do we have anything else we want to talk about? Kind of talk about all the major headlines and stuff.
Have I told you that hockey is weird and dumb and stupid, and I love it?
Yes, I don't know if
I feel like that bears repeating
multiple times. Yeah, I mean, all 4 division winners are out. It's the first time in any sport that it's happened.
Dumb, stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little unfair to say that like this is say that this is the first time in any of the major sports that all 4 or all the division winners are out in the first round, considering just the way that the other leagues are like formatted.
Yeah.
Like the NHL is really the only sport where it's actually like really possible. It's technically possible in the NBA, but like we all know that's never going to happen.
Nope. The NFL can't, because at least 2 of those. Yeah, that's a first round bye.
Well, also, they have first round buys, and the MLB it's not going to happen because they only have 4 teams that make the playoffs. So, or I guess technically 5, but I don't know. I don't know if I really consider losing in the wild card game as making the playoffs.
It's a play-in game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a play-in game.
Yeah.
All right, I guess let's just give. You want to do like Cup final predictions real quick? Just who we think is going to make updated Cup final predictions. That look on your face says no, but I think we're going to do it anyway.
I'm not ready, but I'll give my gut reaction.
So to me, obviously, again, there's totally no bias in this at all, like zero bias. I'm going to take San Jose and Boston.
Brendan, that's exactly what I was going to say.
You know what? It's not my fault you're taking the favorites in both conferences.
You're taking the favorites. Are you kidding? You can't. If I'm picking the same thing you are, you can't say, well, you're picking the favorites. We're both picking the favorites.
I mean, you could pick the Blues or something. I don't know. I went first. I had dibs.
Fine, we'll go San Jose Islanders.
I don't like that you're picking San Jose. Yeah, honestly.
Well, I already had San Jose before this round, so fuck it.
Honestly, I'm kind of expecting the Islanders to be like last year's Caps, and that I will pick against them in every round, and they'll still just like end up winning the Cup because hockey makes no sense. And
you know what? San Jose is the one team that didn't let me down, so now I have to ride with them.
Oh, that's right. They were the one series you got right?
The one series I got right were the Sharks. So they're now – I can't say they're my team. I'm not rooting for them because every team I root for loses. I'm not rooting for the Sharks. But I do have to.
I'm just saying they're the
Pick
most likable
them.
team left.
How can you root against the Jerks, though?
Ooh, good point. But, like, how could you pick the Jerks over Joe Thornton going for a cup?
Also very difficult.
And Erik Karlsson. And Brent Burns.
That's all the time we have on the Farrell and Farrell show. Hockey for the people.
God, we gotta change that at some point, or we'll probably get sued at some point.
Nobody knows who we are.
We'll see. We'll figure it out. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching and for making it this far somehow. You guys have a good one.